Hello, Tom here. Welcome to Shroud University lecture series. This lecture provides never before seen explanation to support that Jesus' so-called miracle bodily resurrection was actually a radiation event. As we discussed earlier, the bodies of common, spiritually developed people have been radiating away for centuries, even in modern times. It's called rainbow body, and we find it in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Rainbow body realization is a learnable skill. In fact, the Tibetans have a yogic practice called Dzogchen that is used for attainment and a school to teach it. Resurrection is the Christian version of rainbow body. Christians, too, have a body of teachings that can be used for attainment. They are found in the Gospel of Thomas, which we will get to in a future lecture. Unfortunately, resurrection is considered a miracle beyond human capacity, and the Gospel of Thomas is non-canonical. So there's a wide divide that separates resurrection from rainbow body. I submit to you that the atom, the building block of matter, doesn't really care about a person's ideology. If you put it in a position where it can vanish from sight, then it will vanish from sight. Both rainbow body and resurrection are grounded in Einstein's world-famous equation, E equal mc squared. It has been around since 1905. The formula is not a recipe for building an atomic bomb, as many think. It says that energy, E, and matter, M, are complementary aspects of one another. Matter, and that includes the human body, is primordial energy that is individualized into bulk and form. Resurrection, then, is when matter gives up its bulk and form and returns to the primordial energy state from which it came. Now, the challenge here is how to make the transformation. This is where skill enters the narrative. The Gospels speak to resurrection as a radiation event, but not if read literally. Matthew's account of the first Easter Sunday reports that a talking angel dressed in dazzling white clothing descended to earth in a flash of lightning, causing a great earthquake. He then rolled back the entry stone to the tomb and sat upon it. This report gives me brain pain. Rather than the literal account, how about this instead? There was a lightning-like flash of light from an energy release within the tomb. It caused the earth to shake, and it dislodged the entry stone. Mark's account has a young man, a natural creature, dressed in a dazzling robe, waiting in the tomb when the early morning visitors arrived. It too is a stretch for me. Where did the young man come from? Why was he dazzling? And what happened to Matthew's angel? Luke's account has two young men, and they suddenly appear in the tomb, coming from nowhere after the first visitors arrived. They were also wearing clothing that had a lightning-like appearance. What happened to Mark's young man, who was the first to arrive at the scene? Again, my imagination is being stretched to its limit. What are the evangelists really trying to tell us? Could they be writing of a dazzling, lightning-like flash of light at the tomb from an energy release that was strong enough to make the earth shake? I mean, such could happen if energy that was organized into bulk and form, the M in Einstein's equation, returned to its primordial state, the E. I think there's more to reading the Bible than knowing how to read. Now, another question arises, and just from simply looking at the cloth. Why is the ridge of Jesus' nose black in color to the naked eye? Normally, protruding body parts collect the most light and accordingly are light in color. Jesus' nose is dark because the cloth, resting on the ridgeline, was closer to the source of radiation, the body, and received maximum radiation dosage. The parts of the cloth that were not touching the body received less radiation. This is due to distance attenuation. This is an effect known as banding, which we will discuss in the next episode. So all I'm saying is simply looking at the cloth suggests that resurrection is a radiation event. The strange nature of the blood marks on the cloth is the real story in Shroud research. Although researchers, unable to venture into the Tibetan Buddhist rainbow body tradition, have yet to discover it. The blood marks are telltale of a radiation event. They are the coup de grace. They are the smoking gun. Now, the cloth contains approximately 130 blood marks. Most are on the torso. They come from flogging wounds. The marks are a replica of the wound that created them. This is unheard of in the medical profession. And you know from your own experience, the blood on your flesh wound bandage never replicates the wound it covered. The shroud blood marks exhibit raised edges and an indented center, such as would be created by a Roman flagrum. When viewed under ultraviolet light, a serum contraction ring is also found. Blood serum is a protein-based fluid that remains after clotting takes place. Of particular interest here is the fact that there is no image underneath the blood stains. Most shroud observations go challenged. This is one of the few that goes unchallenged. So, in other words, in a two-step process, blood marks were deposited on the shroud in advance of denuclearization. This two-step process is also found in rainbow body attainment. And it's found through Dzogchen, the Tibetan yogic practice that is known to produce your rainbow body. Now, this first step is called Trekcho, and it brings a body to a condition Tibetans sometimes refer to as atom body. It is where the full empty nature of the atom is realized. Now, empty nature, I will explain that in just a bit. Denuclearization does not occur in Trekcho. Only a phase change from one form of energy to another, and it's in line with the well-known principle of wave-particle duality, a foundational understanding in atomic science. Actual denuclearization, that is, molecular change, occurs in Dzogchen Step 2, and it's called Thogel. And while the two steps proceed in parallel, Step 1, Trekcho, must be completed before the fruits of Step 2, Thogel, can be realized. So, in the resurrection parallel, the blood clots on Jesus' crucified body were physically separated from the corpse and forced into the shroud. That's Trexco. And there was a volumetric expansion of the atoms in the body. Then the atoms, now primed for molecular change, return to their primal energy state, Thogel. And I should mention too that in the expansive process, the shroud was decontoured from Jesus' body, becoming parallel to the burial slab just prior to image formation. This is why his image is not distorted when the cloth is viewed in 2 dimensions, as it is today. What is this force that lifted the clots from the body, forcing them into the cloth while decontouring it to parallel to the burial slab? It's best explained like this. All matter has a dual nature. It is either particle, meaning it has an identifiable location, or it is wave. Waves have no location. They are everywhere. You encounter wave-particle duality when using a flashlight. The flashlight generates photons, the units of light. Do you ever notice that the space in between the tip of the flashlight and the spot it illuminates is blank? The illuminated spot is particle. The photons have location. However, the photons in the in-between distance, they have no location. They are spread out as a wave. So in the use of the flashlight, photons are spread out in wave state, and then they collapse to particle state, and a target spot is illuminated. So look at the process in reverse, where particleized photons return to wave. Particle goes to wave. Particle, wave. Can you envision a volumetric expansion? A force that could lift blood clots from Jesus' body, push them into the shroud, and at the same time decontour the cloth to the parallel with the burial slab. Think about it. Particle to wave, particle to wave. Can you visualize an expansion? This volumetric expansion is what happens in the resurrection rainbow body 2-step process. Particle returns to wave, Trexco, with the forceful expansion forming atom bottom. Then, once in wave state, but not before the atoms of which the body is made are positioned to denuclearize, producing radiation in step 2, Thogel. Strange things happen when the human body is at the wave-particle boundary. Jesus was there at his transfiguration. Tibetan Buddhist monk Lama Atrup, he had rainbow body in 2011, was known to transfigure. Photos are available. Hindu Saint Ramalinga was unable to be photographed. Light reflected from his clothing, but went right through his body. When an atom body, the physical body takes on a measure of buoyancy. Saint Teresa used rocks to keep herself grounded and avoid levitation. To no avail, I might add. Saint Francis of Assisi levitated anywhere from a few feet off the ground to a height of a treetop. Jesus walked on water. So in closing, Jesus' resurrection was a radiation event. Shroud research indicates it. The gospel suggests it. The image on the shroud is a radiated projection. The 2-step mechanics of body dematerialization follow rainbow body realization, which is a queer radiation event, and it is natural, in accord with Einstein's famous equation, E equal mc squared. Thanks for watching. Do us both a favor. If you like what you see, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll catch you at the next lecture.